Hey everyone out there in internet land, it's regular Jim again with another action figure unboxing video. So I'm not the biggest fan of Wonder Woman. You know, I like the character, you know, she's cool. I dig her. But I've never been much for her, like, as a character. I've never really followed her books. The most I've ever read is maybe some spin-off stuff, miniseries stuff, but even then, not too much. But, you know, she's a big deal character, and I figure I should have a Wonder Woman character in my action figure collection. So I was shopping around, and I found this particular version, which looked really appealing to me. This is the DC Comics Designer Series, Darwyn Cooke designed Wonder Woman. Now, Darwyn Cooke is one of my favorite comic creators of all time. You know, unfortunately, he passed before his time a few years ago. And the comic book industry has been, you know, the worst for it, in my opinion. One of my favorite comics of all time that he wrote and drew was called DC The New Frontier, which did feature Wonder Woman somewhat predominantly. This figure, apparently, is based upon a design of his for the character of Wonder Woman, but she is not the New Frontier design. I kind of thought she might be, but I got looking more closely at her after I bought it, and I realized that she doesn't have the skirt that the New Frontier version does. But this is still a really cool design. Cooke's always had a kind of a very animated look to his designs, and I've always been a big fan of, you know, just how he makes characters look, especially Wonder Woman. So this figure was produced by DC Collectables. It's a pretty cool box. It's got a nice window there so you can see the character very clearly if you want to display it in a box. It's got the name Wonder Woman written down the side here, so you, I'm not really sure why you'd want to display it quite this way, but you totally could. On the back of the box we see some other figures from the line, the Darwyn Cooke series of the DC Comics Designer Series. We got the Flash, Green Lantern John Stewart, Wonder Woman, who we have here, and Catwoman. Now, this Catwoman design is fairly iconic. This was a big redesign of the character that Cooke did back in the early 2000s, which stuck around for quite a while until very recently. These other designs, this one's somewhat similar to the Flash's New Frontier look, but it's a pretty basic Flash design. John Stewart, I'm not actually sure if that was like from a specific series or not. I'm not too familiar with the character and Green Lanterns in general. I do wish there were a few more figures that were in the style of New Frontier in this run. I know there are 4 others. I believe Supergirl got a figure and Batman got a figure, but I'm not really aware what the other 2 were. But no Superman. His New Frontier Superman design is very cool, and he's got long trunks, which I always like in Superman. But you know, he's a great artist, great designs. It's kind of cool to see some of them in action figure form. This will probably be, of course, the only figure of this line I buy, because honestly, if I'm only going to get one, Wonder Woman's probably the cooler one to get. And here's Cooke's art of Wonder Woman on the other side of the box. So that's pretty nice for display purposes too. So let's open this up and see what we got. All right, so here's the DC Collectables Darwyn Cooke Wonder Woman outside the package. Just immediately noticing a few things about this that I don't know if I like too much, but let's take a closer look. So we got pretty basic articulation, single joint in the arm, so it goes about back that far and only about a 90-degree angle. The fists and her bracelet rotate independently, so you can kind of get, you know, a few different fist positions, but the wrist doesn't move left or right. It just goes around in a circle. Looks like the wrist, the bracelet isn't actually supposed to move. This one just does, because this one does not. The wait a minute. It's a little tight. I'm gonna play with that around some, because this one moves freely, but this one's pretty stuck. So I may need to put some force upon it to get it loose. Anyway, yeah, same thing. Single jointed elbow, 90-degree angle, pretty limited. Head turns left, right. Doesn't really look up, but it looks down okay. Elbows do come in and out, and they rotate around 160 degrees. So we got on the hip here, no articulation. She does not rotate left and right. Kind of stiff, not great. Now the legs are where I've got my biggest concern about this figure. So her legs go back, they go forward, but they're kind of stuck at these 45-degree angles. They cannot move in and out. She's basically got this wide stance and nothing else. That is actually really disappointing to me. Just total lack of articulation in the hips compared to a lot of other figures that I have. It's going to make posing possibilities super limited with her. Her knees are just single jointed. They don't even go 90 degrees. They're here at this 45-degree angle and no further. Her feet have no articulation at all. No joint there. Don't go any direction. They're fused to the leg. So right off the bat, you can't even put her into a decent like kneeling action pose. So her only stance is like this, which, you know, is okay stance, but even that's not super balanced in terms of she's a very limited figure in terms of pose possibility. So this is just about the only pose I'm going to be able to put her in, to be completely honest, because she does not have any significant torso movement or leg movement. So this is pretty disappointing in terms of articulation. She's great design. She looks exactly like the Darwyn Cooke comic version. I kind of like the thing they got going on with her hair. See, in comics, they sometimes use they color in the blacks with ink, and then they use blue for like highlights. You don't usually see that in action figures. So here, it's pretty cool to see it in action as like a physical thing. So it's kind of neat because it kind of works when she's far away. It doesn't look too blue. It looks like highlights. So that's cool. She's got pretty good definition in the face. Like I said, she looks really on model for what Cooke's design was. Scale, she's pretty good. Here is her put up against her alternate universe doppelganger, Superwoman. So as you can see, she's a bit taller. She's, you know, a bit wider, you know, thicker. I would say her plastic feels a bit heavier, probably because DC Collectables was a little bit more. Actually, turns out this one was also DC Collectables, now that I think about it. So this one just feels a little bit more sturdy, even though she's a lot more stiff. Superwoman here, of course, has more articulation in the legs here. Her torso here twists, and her knees are all double jointed, so you can do all kinds of stuff with the knees going 90 or even 100 degrees here, which give you more posing possibilities, whereas the Wonder Woman figure lacks all of that. Good figure in terms of looks, bad figure in terms of articulation. The Wonder Woman DC Comics Designer Series Wonder Woman Darwyn Cooke version. So I'm not, after getting a look at this, I'm not sure I'm going to want to get too many more of these designer figures. They definitely seem to be wanting to go more for appearance more than articulation. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of more into articulation. I am noticing something interesting, though. If you look close on her armored knees here, I don't know if the light's going to be too bright, but you can sort of see, like, scratches and battle damage that have been painted in. That's actually pretty cool in terms of molding. It's got it on those ones too, and if you look on her bracelets there, you can see it on her bracelets as well. So that's a cool little detail. Yeah, and yeah, you can see like folds in her pants here, and in her shirt here. So, you know, it's got some good things to it. Just articulation is just super disappointing, just because she's so limited in like how she can stand. But otherwise, that's it. That's the figure. So thanks for watching, everyone.